Guru Kripa Kevalam. Namaste and welcome everyone to Satsang today. Sadguru Sri Muji Baba ki Jai. It feels like the season is ending or something. We have a full house here because this is last Satsang. Tomorrow we may have some informal Satsang as well. So you better ask today what is left. Okay, Nitya wants to come, she can come.
Hello? I actually don't know what to say. I'm extremely tired, so I'm not sleeping. So I got an infection now too. But all is fine, all is fine. And even if I don't look like this, but I'm just very grateful. And I couldn't let you go to say that. But I'm very grateful. And I want to share, I was kind of panicking first night when Mom moved, and a lot of things got triggered. So, this old stuff, I just want to speak that out. I was 2.5 years by myself in a mental hospital, and acute one, a one where everyone is coming to. So this is pretty tough, and to be there, and you get a lot re-traumatized there too, even if it was good like this. And of course, a lot of stuff got triggered when I was with the first night. So so yesterday I was just a little kid, I just went to the caregivers and just crying my heart out, and said, are you able to care for her and everything? I was really kind of, not spiritual at all, if you want to say, but it was so good, there was no alternative to it. It was just, going there and talk with them, no matter how my state was. And so it was really, really good. And then I went to Mom and looked at her, and it was so clear. Stop dialysis. Yeah, she is not able to. It was so clear. Something in my heart said no. So I don't know who did this actually. It was pure grace, pure grace. And then I called my brother to come and also have a look and what he feels about it. And so he came, and we are just crying all the time. Yeah? And it's something else, when someone is just leaving, is in the process of leaving, or if you have to take a decision and say, so no dialysis anymore, when she cannot really make this decision like this. So I went there, and it was clear, and we were, my brother and I, we said, yes, okay. And I said, I have to talk with her doc, dialysis doc, and I called him. And it is not easy to get him. And I just made it so urgent. I don't know what strength was here, you know. I immediately got him on the phone and spoke with him, and I told him the first time, I have the feeling not to do the dialysis today. So he said, okay, it was so amazing. So he said, and I asked him to really have a look at her and to come, and he said he cannot come now. But he came after work, actually. No dog is doing this. Nobody here, no one. Yeah. And he came after work, he stayed more than a half an hour with us, and he spoke with Mom. It was so beautiful. So beautiful. It was amazing. I have no words for this. Just pure grace. It was so soft and so loving. Normally I don't have any trust in any dog, you know, zero trust in any dog. But this one, yes, all the way. So when we came along, and then he just said, we really again looking every day. Just so she had a little rest, and she will have today rest. And so, and we are looking to on Friday if she is able to have dialysis again. And he offered her only to have 2 days and have a shorter time, and he said, you decide if you want to have it. It was so. I mean, I'm just so overflowing, you know. And this woman, is pure. This being of my mom. I never heard so much love. So this is pure grace, really pure grace. And I just want to thank you. And on the other side, you know, of course, he's totally identified at the moment, but I'm really fine with it. You know, I'm totally, really, really tired. I cannot tell you how tired I am. And it's also fine, you know, it's all fine. And this has to be like this. And I also see that Mom has to be like this. This is pure, you know, every minute is pure grace. I just can only say this. And no matter how hard it is and how beautiful. And on the other side, I just want to. It sounds kind of crazy to say this because it's not really true, you know. But I just want to. There's just a sense, you know, I somehow left myself, which is totally impossible. But in a sense of, I don't experience it at the moment like I used to experience, because all this stuff is so extremely emotional. And I just have to speak that out and to really to leave it here. I know it is not true, and all this is perfect how it is at the moment, and there's no judgment. You know, I'm not judging myself or anyone, but you know, I also the caregivers. They are all very nice people, really nice, and they are, you know, they are coming to us and saying, "Hey, it's amazing how you care for your mom," and it's really great. I just want to leave all this with you, no matter what. And yeah, and also this seeming leaving the cell. And Yeah, which is kind of thank you, Father. Thank you.
Thank you, my dear. Just firstly know that all our love and blessings are with you at this time, and I'm very happy to see that you're dealing with the situation with a lot of beauty and grace, and completely, you look completely carried by grace. That's very good, very good. Remind me of this story that we heard in childhood. No? This boy is being told about God, being told about God when he's walking on the beach. So the metaphor is the walking on the beach, and he looked back and he saw that there are always two set of footsteps. So God is always walking with you. Now, there were certain times where he looked back and he saw that there were only one set of footsteps. So then he said, "How come there's only one? And these are the most difficult times. In the most difficult times, you left me." So then God said, "No, these are the times in which I carried you." That's only God's footsteps are there. So this is very beautiful in that way. So when we say Guru Kripa Kevalam, we can trust that grace to carry us, as long as the feeling of me and other is there. Even then, in our expression of surrender, brings a lot of poise to a situation, brings a lot of grace to any situation. So this is very good. He's talking about being tired, and like this body also been very tired because so many different things before we have to go. So last night actually, when I was coming back home, just before coming, I was with the family also. They were with me together, and I was just feeling like I'm going to have a blackout or something. Yeah. And for a while, then everybody got concerned, saying, "But you have to travel," and this. And I bought into that concern for a couple of minutes. But then I just saw that seemed like a bit of fun actually to have this. I've not had I've never in this waking state lost consciousness, so I have not had that experience. But when there was some concern, but later I just feel like that could have been fun. Of course, in itself it is nothing. So it is just a perspective that you can put on it, either being a terrible thing or being fun. Either is a perspective, but I was enjoying the fun perspective more than. So I can understand a bit of this tiredness and things like that, and maybe it's a nice wake up call or something like that to just cut back a little bit on all the work that is going on. So. Okay, so questions, last chance. Where are you going to travel, Father? Okay, that's an easy question. So I'm going to the state of Indiana in America. There's a village or a town. I shouldn't call it village in broadcast, but there's by Indian standards is very small, no population. So small town called Bloomington, and that's where my son's university is, Indiana University. So he's joining there. So I'm going to take him to this place. And as all good Indian parents settle the son in and then come back. So just a couple of weeks we'll have a break from Satsang. Yes.
I'd like to probably surrender, expose something, and just see the falseness in it. Last few days there's always been, every few hours there's always a urge to reconfirm of sorts who I am or what position I am. And it comes from an urge like something undone. The speech that motivates this search is you're not done if something's not right. Have you seen your interaction with your brother and all? So those kind of things, sort of a checker.
Yes.
And it's a torturous thought, this checker, checking. And as a sort of an attempt is seen to do it, I see the attempt is done and the checking is also happening as I'm noticing. So nothing's really actually being checked on. It's like a problem is created and a checking is happening. See, this is happening, but the movie is happening. But this trouble that follows right after, see this, you did that. So this speech, this one that punishes some me, that I feel I'm quite attached to of sorts, and I respect it for some reason. I want to see this clearly, because even what I'm saying doesn't seem like true saying. And what you're referring to, or what is being shared in Satsang, is there are moments that it's obvious, sort of bought into the things that were thought, that, that was there and believed it, and the power of believement, it's so real, it was another thought of you that believed it.
Yes. So now what's happening?
This one is trying to get confirmation about whatever is being said as correct.
And what's the real position?
A tired one, frustrated.
Real.
So it's like I need some help, some sort of. It's like the same problem for years. It's the same thing that I'm going back to, and there's punishment because of that.
Who?
Thoughts.
So who's had this problem?
The thought.
The thought has had the problem.
How it goes when you say it like that. But there's frustration that it went.
Yeah, this is. It can't be so
Why
fast.
is it not here? No,
I have heard this very often over the years. It's just like, can we talk about a problem which is not there when you are there? No. It's like, but you have to present it to me for me to look at it. No? So like you go to the doctor and say, I have a big growth on my head or something, but whenever you come, it's not there. So how is the doctor going to help? You see? But then the doctor will obviously ask you this question: are you certain that it is real? It seems to vanish every time I'm around. And sometimes what happens upon hearing this, next time we make a decision that even when Ananta is there, I will make sure it doesn't go, and I will show him that this is the real problem.
I'm sitting there. You should. I should talk. No, shush. There's no problem. It's like I'm not having a conversation like that, but yeah, it seems like that. It's funny, but it's. I feel some.
The thing is
some
not
focus.
whether there is a problem or not. You see. The thing is not whether there is a problem or not. The thing is whether there is a you or not. To have that problem or not. You see? So, the objective of satsang is not to come to the end of problems for a non-existent me. You see? Is to just see that there is no such me for whom there is a concept called problem. So what happens when you come to satsang or when we have this conversation? You see that the one who is at the center of it, the protagonist of this story, itself feels non-existent. You see? So it's not that the problems suddenly go away for me. You see? Although the mind may have that interpretation of that, but actually you just get some space from this oppressive notion about yourself. And it was good that you were quick to, when I said who, it didn't come like, no father, I knew you were going to ask me that, but don't tell me something else. What else you got? You know, it's like, don't use your Brahmastra, your main weapon. You see? Tell me something else in some other way. You see? So that didn't come, and he was but this was serious business. I built it up over the whole Wednesday break that we had. You see, this can't be right. Whole day and a half is gone. So let's give it some time, let's give it some attention, let's say, okay, what are the contours of this problem, and let's really look, and and the mind will come and say, but this is avoidance, you see, but let's look at the non-existent problem for long. Otherwise, if we just look at it and see there is no me to suffer from that problem, then that is avoidance. You see?
Yeah.
let's make it real first, then let's come to the unreality of it. You know, and the mind will decide. If you come to it in 1 hour, then you were not avoiding it. You see, then it was not avoidance. You looked at it, you saw, did that non-existent me have a finger? Did it have a hand? Did it have an elbow? Did it have a shoulder? Then you really looked at it and saw that there is no such me. Then okay, you didn't avoid it. You see, you really solved it. Well, I can't find this me. Whose finger, elbow, shoulder should I look at? Not there. No, mind will come and say, but can't be that fast with it. That's avoidance.
Further, I know
Yes.
the way you're using the intonation of, there isn't a me.
Yeah.
I can see that that's also a thought that is trying to comment on the observation that the me was in a series of thoughts. It was a story.
Yes, exactly.
It was there.
Exactly.
So
it was like a cloud or a wave of some sort. Just like, not really even that, but just the one through the narrative that seems to have some continuity. You see? And the thing with that is that we are bound by our intellectual concepts about that which we call experience, but it itself is empty of any such interpretation. You see, so we get bound by that and say that till I have only when I have this kind of experience. You see, like, okay, so this was the part of a question that I felt I was forgetting that Nitya asked actually, because she was saying that I'm not really with myself, but she knows that I can't really leave myself. So we're still defining the self as another experience, you see, as a lack of thoughts or some emotional state being either empty of any so-called negative emotion or presence of some so-called positive emotion. So we're still labeling those things as the experience of the self, you see, but the self itself is not an experience. So That is why my new Brahmastra is this one. What is it that you know without having to think anything or having to perceive anything? So on this break, I'm leaving this tool with you, which I feel like is very, very potent. What do you know without having to think anything or perceive anything?
There's a comment that immediately appears.
Yeah.
It's me.
Yeah.
But that comment actually implied there was me.
Don't worry about what implied. It's okay. It's
Yeah.
it's not a sin or something. It is saying, I'm giving you a tip. You see, which is that because then the comment comes, and then we get into okay, but that is what it was trying to do. You know? And then we say, okay, in the trying to do that, it was trying to. You see? Yeah. And then it's again.
The seeking is just trying to figure out and have a conclusion.
That is our only operation now. The spiritual seeker is like the spiritual figure-outer. Hey, the seeking is just the trying to figure it out now, especially who come to these kind of satsang, which is like, okay, now we're going to come to understand really, you see, what is the nature of truth. You see, that's why we seem to come to satsang, we come here and we seem to understand really what is the nature of truth. But it's not about that. Understood? You see? Because what happens then? Why does this sound like bad news to some? You see? Why does it sound like bad news to some? Because then we feel like unless I have a perception or a special experience which I can say, okay, that is the truth, or I have some great understanding now that this is the truth. Without these two things, I am just lost. You see? But you are not. This is what you have to check. You see? We refer to the innocence of a child. All the sages have said you have to come back to that innocence, you see, to enter the kingdom of heaven. You see? What was that innocence? You see? It was not judging ourselves on the basis of some concept or some so-called experience. It did not mean that there's a me there just because something was experienced or not. So this empty of interpreting, empty of judgment. Even judgments about the mind itself. So even what we are saying in satsang about the mind, just to get us to back off from full allegiance to whatever it's conveying me to be. You see? We don't need that. You see? It's just provisional, so that we are not buying into every story of the me from the mind. But once it's seen, then we don't have to become the mind doctor. And oh, mind is doing this, the mind is not doing this, but this is what immediately it says or it doesn't say. It can keep doing whatever it wants. I use that simple metaphor of the street. You see? So the volume of thought is like the number of cars that are on the street. You see? Now the amount of traffic on the street is troublesome only if you have to cross the street. You see? If you don't have to cross, you are wherever you are is fine. Then it doesn't matter whether there are 100 cars, 1 car, no cars. You see? So let the mind go its merry way. Let it say blah 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 blah, or let it be. Doesn't matter. Or does it? And sometimes we can play the opposite way also. We can say, okay, Mr. Mind, what do you think about this now?
It shouldn't.
Yeah, it shouldn't. He already is trying to be like, it should or it shouldn't. I can tell you this stuff. So that's why in a pointing like this, what is it that you know without having to think anything or perceive anything? Then I'm not saying that should stop or it should, I think without having to, independent of that, independent of which thoughts and perceptions are there. Because some might hear it saying that I have to put an end to my thought and put an end to my perception and go to nirvikalpa samadhi or turiya, something like that. But it's not that. I'm saying independent of whatever thoughts may be going on or whatever perception may be happening. You see, what is it that is known to you? If your mind is telling you things like, but that is too much, it is too deep, it is not possible for me, I am not there yet, you see. Or it is saying it is obvious, I know this, it is a self, it is awareness, it is, either way, you see. Just let that come and go, and what you know independent of that. You see? So the objective is not to come to a mental conclusion, because that would also just be a thought. What is that knowing which is not a mental conclusion or a perception? To put it another way. Maybe that sounds better. Sounds simpler to deal with. What is that knowing which is not a thought or a perception? See, it's okay.
Just contemplating the sentence itself, realize.
What is that knowing which is not a thought or a perception?
Knowing is you.
You or you?
Yourself.
It's yourself. Is that a thought or a perception? Just messing with it. Why you sound so disappointed while saying it? That's what. Is the mind saying what's the big deal in that, or what is the side commentary? Because that it is myself should be like, it is myself. It doesn't have to be, but that is just the self sounds a bit colored with some other messaging. What is the side commentary?
No side commentary, but it didn't come out so fresh.
No, it's okay. Then it's fine. Because then it could just be a statement of simplicity. That is just a self. You see, as long as there's no, but is that it? You see? Or, I've been so stupid, actually, I have not looked like this for so many years. I wish somebody had told me 20 years ago that this was the way to look, or something. You see? So none of that is important. Sometimes I've had complaints. Now you're telling me this? I've been in Satsang with you 4 years. Why couldn't you have told me this before? She's not reacting somebody. It's okay to have that.
Well, when the word that we have to use, like it's myself, the first few times that used to happen, it felt a little, okay, it's myself. But objectless, everywhere, those kind of questions came in to actually check and confirm, understand.
The question itself takes care of even that, isn't it? Like, what do you know without, what is it? Having a thought or a perception?
What is that?
Without needing a thought or a perception. Or what do you know which is not a thought or a perception? You see, so even the self is a thought.
Yeah. So, what I was trying to get to was that the word myself for yourself, when I was using it, I was imagining an object.
Correct.
This is the shape, the body, it has a name. So myself. No, that's not it.
It's just a thought. And thought now trying to also mixed with this sort of a silhouette of a perception, giving you some shades. There's a me with a boundary in some way. So what do you know without a thought or a perception? Is that how we phrased it?
What is that knowing? That does not
Second
require
one was
thinking.
better. This one is very difficult.
Which one was the second one? I'm only asking because I forgot the way it came out. What do you know without needing a thought or and a perception? Good.
Knowing is
What is that knowing?
Knowing.
the second one.
What is that knowing which doesn't need a thought or a perception? How is that better? Then what do you know? No, what is the distinction between what do you know without needing a thought or perception and what is the knowing now? Knowing sounds cooler.
It's in progress.
That is the knowingness. But when I say what do I know, then it's
There's an I there.
There's an I there.
oh, what do I know? There's an I
I
there.
gets all confused.
Maybe this is better. It's better. What do I know without without a thought or perception? What do you know without a thought or perception?
It's the presence.
Presence is not a thought. It's okay, I'm just asking.
I exist.
That's not a thought. Your protest should be, then how am I supposed to answer you? Because everything I answer you will be a thought. But the invitation is to not even rest on these conclusions. You see, because what can happen is what you're saying is absolutely right in a way that you come to this, let's call it sense of existence or presence or that which is aware even of this. You see, but what can happen is that even this, the mind can make an experience out of it or a concept out of it and say, so the next time the question is asked, what do you know without a thought or perception? They say, yeah, we solved this one. It's awareness or presence. You see? So that labeling can then put this question also in an intellectual box and then I'll have to find a new question. So actually all these pointings over the years have been pointing to the same thing. You see? But because the mind then concludes that this is the answer to this, then we need to keep coming up with fresh pointing. Isn't it?
Cache visit.
Yeah. So yeah, it's in the cache now. So but presence or I exist, that's also thought. That's also a thought. That's a perception.
So how can I explain? Is it to be answered?
That's also a thought.
The goose is full.
He changed the Quran. The eagle is landed or the goose is flown? So the cooler version was what Drishti is reminding us. She is saying, what is that knowing which is not a thought or a perception? It sounds a bit like we can put some distance using this, no? Because we already have concepts of knowingness and awareness. What is that knowing? Then it doesn't sound egotistical, all these things. No, like that. What do you know without needing a thought or a perception? Some knowing sitting there, who cares about that? What is it that you know? Because this can happen also over the years. It's happened. We're sort of doing one nostalgic trip through the years of satsang in a way. Because many times we come to great insight, but then we end up with this in one way or the other saying, yes, there is awareness, and to awareness nothing is happening. You see, And it took me a while to figure out why that still sounds like a problem. Then I figured that what you're really saying is that to awareness nothing is happening, but Ananta, what about me? You see? So then at one time we'd even given another pointer, which is who is aware of this awareness? You see? Because when we said, are you aware now? Then we saw that there's an awareness which remains untouched, unmoved, everything is fine, the manifest plays out beautifully, but it has no impact on this awareness. You see? But the mind makes an experience out of that and says, okay, awareness is one thing sitting over there, the manifest is this whole thing sitting over here, but what about me? You see? So then we say, who is aware of this awareness? So then the gap between I, big I, and this awareness starts to close down. Actually, there's no distinction. So in the same way, then, if you just say, what is that knowing? Then we say, yeah, to knowingness nothing is happening. So I want to keep it like that. What do you know without needing a thought or perception? And this is very useful in a way because it also can be asked this way. You see? What is it that you want which is not a thought or a perception? It takes the seeking out of a seeker. Or at least we can say the struggling out of the seeker. Because we can only struggle for trying to fill the right thoughts into our intellect or to get some set of experiences which we think will be very, very final or something. So, and then one new thought can come and say, yes, now this is causing all the problems, so I must come to the end of thought. Manonasha. I come to the end of thought, then I'm fine. You see? But end of thoughts also is a thought. So, who must come to it anyway? And even nothing is not the answer, in case you're quietly settling for that. You may be settling like that, no? That what do I know? Without a thought or perception, you say nothing. Or even nothing. It's just a thought. So, what's the answer? Huh?
I don't know.
That's also thought.
Thought.
But what are you trying to say?
It's just blank.
Without a thought or perception, it is blank, but blank is not perception. Let's look, it's good. This is the fun part. So don't know is for us, hopefully. So don't know is thought, blankness is perception. You see? What else do you have?
Just blank, no thoughts bothering or coming.
So that is perceived, no? So that is perception. What else do you have? What do you know that is not a perception, including the perception of absence of content or absence of phenomena which we call blank?
When the question is posed, Father, there's nothing coming up, so what do we do?
Nothing coming up, so you don't know anything.
Yeah.
So you also left. The question came, then blankness came, but it came to you. To who? Because you also left.
No, when I'm trying to answer, when you're
Yeah.
asking a question,
Then
there's
what
nothing coming up.
Yeah, for whom? Stay with me, it's good. So, for whom?
Here.
Here is who? Okay, so nothing is coming up.
Yeah.
You see? Here, who knows that?
It is known.
Yeah, it is known to
I guess me.
to you. That is all you ever need to know. You see? Because the mind will play the same trick, which will to say, but that is nothing. But this is the nothing which I am calling the self. And that is self-knowledge. You see? Okay, so let's recap. So, yeah, either the idea I don't know or the perception of blankness, these were there. And say, for whom or who is here to be aware or to know this, you say here-ness, because there's some hesitation to use the word I or me. No? So, it's here. And I say, here for whom? Then with some diffidence, a sense of like, to me, I can't deny that the blank is perceived by me. The I don't know concept is appearing for me. You see, this can't be denied in a way. But there's a shyness in a way to use the term me, because there's also a sense that it's not personal. See? It's not like an experience that a person can say, this is my personal experience. You can just feel like, am I really having that experience, or can I really say me or I? And sometimes there's a sense that I can't call that me because that sounds arrogant. See? Some can even have this idea that I can't call this me because that is too arrogant. You see? So whatever that objection may be, in a way it is undeniable that you are reporting on it because it is your direct insight, isn't it? You're not making it up. You're not hearing gossip from someone saying, that becomes blank then. See, it's blank. You see, it's going to become blank. So you were there. You see? But not in the way that we've understood ourselves to be or perceived ourselves to be. So this knowing, which cannot be taken from you, it cannot be taken from you, is all that you ever truly know. See? So, and you notice that the mind was trying to say, but that is nothing, it's just nothing. This, which is the treasure in open sight, you see, to the mind says, no, don't look there is nothing.
It's not saying that also. It's
Yeah.
become very quiet.
Yeah. So, what is it that you know without needing a thought or perception? You were saying?
I have a question.
Yeah.
So when I pose this question, the lookout happens. Try to.
Yeah.
There is a lookout.
Yeah.
That, but you want to get triggered. So you are asking to look. But there is a lookout actually.
Okay,
So,
yeah, it's okay. Yeah.
So.
So, attention turns in some way, you're saying?
So you ask the question, and
Yeah.
I try to see.
Yeah, what do you mean by try?
Try in the sense okay. So I'm looking out. and
Looking
what is
means
it?
attention.
Yeah, attention. Yes.
So, what happened to your attention when the question is asked?
it follows the word by word.
Yes.
What is it that
Yeah.
it is independent of knowing
Yes.
and
Perception.
perception.
So attention can either vanish into its source, or it can go to a perception. So don't worry so much about what's happening with that. The question is independent of the play of attention or concepts, and both can play out still.
So the way it could be symbolic
No.
play, but the way it is seen, not seen, but the way it is, seen is that there is no difference between I and no.
Yes. Very good. Very good. He says that what is seen, and I can tell he's struggling to put the words to it, which is that there's actually no distinction between I and no. As I said, that there's no distinction between self and self-knowledge. You see, self-knowledge is not something that the self has. You see, that's again a human construct, right? There's a human being, then human being has a set of concepts, and based on those concepts, that is the knowledge he has. But this, what we call Atma Gyan, or Brahma Gyan, or whatever you call it, is not something that Brahman has, you see, or Atma has. It is that. Hidden in plain sight. That was the term I was looking for. The treasure is hidden in plain sight for everyone.
Distance of a thought.
Huh? Yes,
Seemingly at a distance of thought.
at the seeming distance of a thought, yes. And it also says like that. What is the distance between bondage and freedom? Just a thought.
All I don't know if it's all, but the suffering was just thought created, an idea thoroughly created. I don't see this. Oh no. The suggestion that this was not understood. Oh no, the failure that follows it.
Yeah.
Oh, I'm the one that failed at it. All this is sort of this is punishing thought again. Anyway.
Some of our grooves are set in a way that we've found a home in those grooves in the past, and the same grooves will keep coming and saying, but now you've not done this well, or you lost your chance, or this is how you messed up, in any way. These are just those old grooves, and that's okay. It's enough to notice them. Once you start saying these grooves must not be there, then still the same groove playing out. You noticed it, that's it. Careful of your hand. Your hand is paining?
No.
I very much enjoyed this conversation because I feel like it clarifies. Sometimes we feel a bit shy to speak up, so I'm glad he spoke up because this is what you can say. Like you can say, actually, I don't know, but that's a thought, or you can say, but that it's just blank. That's a perception. You see. Now, what do you know, even to make those claims? You're saying that I am perceiving a blank, or I am aware of blankness, and I am perceiving this thought which is saying I don't know. So how do we know that? Is it independent of thought or perception? This self is known and always known, but not known in the way we think. Now, does it have to stabilize, abide, stay? Because this is the thoughts which can still grab. But then you can say for whom, or who has to. Does this mean you're free? Who would be? Does this mean you're bound? Who would be? So don't rest on any conclusion. Any other reports on this? There's a pull to hear it again and again. Yeah, recording. See, I didn't do that for whom thing. On rare occasions, I can surprise you. Say something. All good? some gratitude is coming because just now I'm noticing even small things. Like we keep sharing, I keep coming here sharing satsang, but I don't know who organizes the tissue boxes and how all this stuff gets organized. So quietly, some of you are doing some of this, for which I'm very grateful, of course, because I don't get too much of a chance to look at these things, and yet it happens so smoothly every day. Of course, we have some technical problems sometimes and things, but thank you for helping to organize so seamlessly. I don't know where the cutlery comes from for the lunches. I don't know. And it just operates. It is very beautiful to see sometimes, because usually I don't notice these things at all. One man came to the door that day. I told this early in the morning. I opened the door and I said, yes. So he said, I said, why you? No, I'm here to clean the place. I said, you clean the place? I didn't even know who cleaned it.
Repeat the point again.
Yeah, if I can remember. What do you know without needing a thought or perception?
It's no, that's it.
Huh?
I know no.
You know, no.
That's it.
You know, no.
No.
What mean?
No,
N-O.
that's it. I mean, there is
Or
a-
K-N-O-W.
Yeah, okay, no. That's knowing. What I
No.
it remains, it's just knowing.
Ah.
I cannot articulate that is me or not
Yeah.
me, but just knowing.
So, who knows that?
No, I mean, when I said that,
No. So, all that is known is like a knowing.
Hmm?
Now, whose knowing is that? What's its relationship with you?
No, I mean, I lost one. I mean,
This report, what is its basis? That all that there is no. K-N-O-W. Is it? And I can't say whether that's me or what. I can't say anything else. Just no. Is it? Now I'm saying, what is the basis for that report?
because I can see thoughts, beyond thoughts.
Yes. But
Beyond
what
perception.
is your basis for the eye that can see thoughts?
It exists before them.
I exist before the thoughts, okay? And how is I known?
It is there.
As a thought, a perception, or what? Any difference between this which is there as I and that which you called no earlier?
Yes, it is there.
Any difference between the two? The way that you're using the two terms I and no. Any difference between the two?
Little yes.
Okay, so what is the difference? What is the distinction?
It's a faculty of I to know.
Okay. So then how is this I known?
It knows.
like it's applying the faculty to itself, like
Yes,
that.
Yes.
So, what is the difference between the faculty and it? For there to be difference, there must be, both must have a quality, isn't it?
Correct.
So, what is the qualitative difference between them? Start paining me. No, for you. Yeah.
Not able to distinct it.
So, the basis for the claim of distinction is not found.
Yes.
So, for the moment, we can say it was conceptual.
Correct.
What other report have?
The basis for this, this difference between I and no, like you
Yeah.
said, is conceptual, but in the same there's an intuitive feeling that's the basis for saying that there's a knower and what it knows,
Yes.
and what even the knowing itself
Yeah.
to distinguish them is also a
Concept. Yes.
because in the experience there isn't so many.
Yeah.
There is
Even
not-
experience is a concept.
Yeah, I mean, then everything just seems to just come and, I mean, it seems to arise within it and collapse. Then this arising, collapsing, so just
But you
words.
already said that which is known is also concept.
Yeah,
See,
there's
so
this
that
thing
which
of
you're
a
calling the
knowing,
experience
yeah.
is also known. The same thing. We're using the term interchangeably. So we already said that the distinction is just conceptual. Then there's no concept left of coming and going.
But Father, it's all same bubble in which the thoughts arises, the feelings arises, perception arises, and then you start believing. But it's all encompasses
Yes.
that.
Yeah.
So what I wanted to say is that I understand that there is a balloon, but it isn't me. I mean, I'm the one which is having all this.
Yes.
I create that. I go inside, and
Yeah.
then it is only me that arises that way.
Yes.
But then, how can I say about this knowing that is beyond thought and feeling? Because it is just me. I mean, even thought is me that way.
Yes.
Then how can I distinct without? So it's like my hands and legs. How
Yes.
can I be beyond that? It is just me.
How can I be?
as if I
So
am
the-
beyond my hand.
So the bubble of manifestation and everything that is perceived,
It is
that's-
just me. I'm going
it's you.
inside.
and that which is aware of this manifestation is you.
Yeah.
Yes.
So how do you want to report this answer to this question?
No, I don't have any expectation.
I mean, it's just I'm talking to myself as
Ah.
you would be
Ah.
inside me and talking to it. Like
Okay.
that. So how do I report that this is beyond thought and feeling? What do you know?
Yeah.
But I know this. It is thought and feelings are all me.
Yes.
There is no distinction.
Okay. And is that all you know?
So to this question, I all that can I say. But if you say something different, I can answer you that. In this
the
context
sense
of
that-
feeling and thoughts.
In the sense that is all you know what you have thought and perceived? In a way, it is rephrasing the initial question, but it's a
Yeah.
useful rephrasing because because something. But it's also me. I'm not denying that. I'm just saying, is there anything else?
I got your point. No, that's what I said. This is one of the faculties of. Yeah, I mean, what else? What else?
It is the
It is a
faculty
small
of.
thing. Now I feel when you ask me a question, it is, yeah, it is, yeah, thoughts, feelings is part of it, but it is not just a knowing probably one section, but knowing is not just that. It is,
Yeah.
it is there to even know this.
Yes.
But then it is, I cannot say unlimitedness because it is there.
Can you say limited?
No.
Oh, then fine. It's neither limited, unlimited. It has to be more tangible to first apply any of this limit or not limit on it.
It's actually fun, I would say. In other words, it's like, oh, okay.
That's why it's called the Leela.
It's not coming to the, like, are you here or are you aware? Like that.
Okay, let's
It
do
is not
together.
coming to-
Let's start together. So, what do you know without needing to think or perceive?
Conceptually, I know.
What do you know without having to think or perceive? Without needing a thought or perception?
Nothing.
Nothing is what? You're perceiving a blankness or a thought saying nothing?
No, but it is going to the question. It's not coming to the nothing.
That's what I'm asking. So, when you say nothing, are you referring to a blank perception or are you referring to nothing from the mind, like a thought?
It is trying to see that question, not.
What is trying to see the question? No answer? What is trying to see the question? You say it is trying to see the question.
The
So-
witnessing.
Witnessing. So how you
Yeah.
know about this witnessing? Is it a perception you're having of the witnessing? Is it just a thought saying witnessing is doing this? Or
Um, it is coming to the blank, but how immediately is I know that is
so blank is perception?
uh,
Okay. So without that, what do you know? Nothing is thought. Without this thought, what do you know?
I don't know.
This I that doesn't know, do you know that? How are you claiming I don't know? How you know this I?
That is already there.
And
That is.
it's okay.
I.
It's okay. No pressure. Just relax. We're all looking together. You see, blank. So blank we said is perception. So without that, what do you know? Then you said nothing. And then nothing is a thought. Without that thought, nothing. What do you know? Then now we are looking here.
Without that thought, again blank comes.
Blank is perception. So don't rely on that.
So if I don't say,
that is the thought. If I don't say. You see? So are we stuck now between the concept I don't know and the perception of blankness? These are the only two things. What is witnessing them? Yeah, how you know that?
it is self.
Huh?
I.
How you know that?
That is self automatically.
It just is.
Self-knowledge.
It's just known.
It's
So that is self-knowledge.
like I am perceiving, it automatically comes like.
I am perceiving.
Like.
You see? So the object of perception is being perceived. But is the I perceived? Like Guruji says, can the perceiver be perceived? Okay? And in this way, it is clear it is you. How is it clear without perception? That is the magic of it. That is the beauty of it. Is something supposed to happen? Because sometimes it can feel like that, no? But it seems to be happening for them, nothing happening for me. What am I doing wrong? You do this wrong. Or right, for that matter. if there's something you can't do wrong, then obviously you can't do it right also. I feel like this is more helpful representation of what I was trying to say with what do you know when you know nothing.
It's a loaded question.
Loaded. And only upon asking we know what it is loaded with.
these words are coming into
Uh-huh.
Don't stir a thought
Don't stir a thought.
for 1 second, half second.
These are very
But 16
beautiful
dollars.
short videos. Very beautiful.
Cessation of thought, I think I tried, but it is all there.
All?
It always, as you try that, it springs back 100 times.
So you have to
I
elaborate.
try to cessate, I try to stop things. I don't want to think about it.
Don't want to think.
Be blank.
Yeah.
Nothing.
Yeah.
Just be there. But it comes 1,000 times more.
It's the thought. The more you push
The
against
more you
it,
push, it comes back.
it
But
can kill.
I think I remember you would say that. Let it come, it's okay. Like car examples. You don't be bothered about it. So, is that the way you should look at it? I mean, I feel very comforting with that because cessation, zero thought, I don't think so. How can you do it? It's a machine that's going to stop. What can stop is the identification.
So even with Papaji, when he said like that, he was just saying, just for this moment, right now. Like we do that also. Right now. That's it. It's same, in a way, how I would interpret that question is to say, what is it that you are without thinking for one moment? Just check. So it's the same sort of inquiry. Water, thank you. What is Praharsh saying? Ayo to Ayo is what you know without needing a thought. Maybe some part of the conversation we don't remember now.
I think it's from the obviousness. That you're right.
What is the English translation of Ayu? Like, oh God? Ayu? Sort of. It has a flavor which is good.
The intonation is usually referring to, oh, I did something stupid or something silly.
Yeah?
I mean, that's the context in which I've heard it.
Oh God. What do you use oh God for?
Use oh God for mostly anything. Does it vary with states?
Yes.
The interpretation of Ayu?
Yeah,
Yeah,
it's
like tell me
like
more. These are the things I want to know. For shock. Like shocking news. Yeah. But also some.
Like for pity also, like we need
For?
pity.
Oh, yes.
The total coordination.
It's like oh God,
It's like
know.
Aiga, Roma, everything.
Aiga.
It's just like an exclamation for everything.
It's multi-purpose.
Yeah. Use it when you
Does
need
not have any single meaning.
Okay, we're getting some answers online also. He's also saying, oh my God. More like, oh my God, can't take it anymore. Meaning changes based on how many O's are there. But that's same for oh my God also. Oh my God. Oh my God. I get the feeling behind the ayo. You like run out of moves. No?
Yeah.
Like if you close the doors of neither taking perception seriously nor thought seriously, it's just like ayo. Ayu is beyond thought.
Om is usually referred.
Oh, what's it?
It's a symbol that used to refer to that.
Oh, Om. Om is short form for oh my God. That's why all the languages merge in the primordial vibration. Om. And from that came, oh my God.
So there's another twist.
Okay.
Just searching.
Oh, you Googled, are you?
In Tamil.
In Tamil.
So Ayu means Yama's wife.
Yeah.
So
Yama's wife?
Yama.
Yama's
So you, when people say Ayu, you say don't say that.
Don't say that. It's like calling his wife.
Don't invite his wife. He is the Lord of Death. So don't invite his wife because he'll come looking. No, but he's not saying it anymore. I didn't know Yama had a wife. Was she alive or dead?
That's a trick question.
Only one person that Yama.
But what about him actually?
Only thing is the power doesn't work.
But is he alive or dead?
Oh, Yama?
Yeah.
No, he's there for that. No, he's gonna.
Oh, he's alive.
Alright, two places. Yama would be saying, yo.
Hey, I'm coming to show you. He's coming anyway, so big deal.
The short form of Ayu is just O.
Oh, is
We
it?
use the word
Oh,
O.
is it? These are all Praharsh is responsible for this Satsang.
Ayu Satsang.
You're 2nd August.
New title. There's also an English song with it. Yeah. What is that thing? I married a female wrestler. You know this one? Ayyo, what should I do? How should I save my skin? I married a female wrestler. Look at the mess I'm in. None of you have heard this song?
Yeah.
Probably not a very correct song in today's generation.
Yeah. That's why all the feminists standing outside.
I'm just quoting the song. Ayyo.
You just repair it by saying, look at the bliss.
I can also sing, I married a male wrestler. Look at the mess I'm in.
Bliss?
Look at the bliss I'm in. So it's not just a South India thing.
Singer's name is Ernest Ignatius.
Ernest Ignatius, yeah. Ernest Ignatius. He's very earnest. The singer of this song. Just he's proving that I'm not just making stuff up.
This is Anglo-Indian songs, part of that.
Goan?
Regularly. Go and
Yes, I guess
how many
south.
songs
South.
He's still South Indian.
No, this is South Korea.
Ernest Ignatius is from where? To use these specs. That's what I also have to do. To read on my phone if I don't have specs. I should. Satsang is so much simpler because you don't have to bother with perception.
Can't zoom in for
Huh?
zoom in and read.
That would be better. Can't zoom in and read. Darshan, as I look at his face, I'm missing office for this time. The first part was very good.
No, I enjoy this part. Come on. Father,
He's actually an actor.
Okay.
Yeah.
From?
Coming to that. How do you IMDb?
Is an actor known for I can't think straight. Life is
I can't think straight.
I can't think straight.
No, but life is okay. That's the next line.
I can't think straight, but life is okay. It's very satsang.
That's IMDb. See, there's a wiki.
It's okay. Not that serious. You can invite him for satsang. No? We had a few satsang with. What was Drishti coming in?
There's no wiki.
Satsang with guests. No, special guests, special invites.
Hey, he's Anglo-Indian. He was born in Goa. And he was a cabaret artist in India.
No?
What?
Yeah. Cabaret is not what we think. Like most things.
Not the dress. Dance moves.
Baba.
Just dance moves. Not the.
Everybody's leaving online. Bye.
Perception to cabaret, man. Range.
From the sublime pointing to the completely ridiculous stuff. That's the box of the intellect. Sublime to ridiculous. See, Ananda came and then all this Ananda came. Yeah. Yeah, but Brahmananda is manifesting this Bhajan Ananda.
Can you answer something?
Seriously?
Like, I mean, it's a different
Yeah,
mood.
look,
Like,
can
when
you
he
answer it
says,
seriously?
You know, in that aarti which we do, so when he says, Tum Puram
Paramatma, yeah.
Tum Antaryam.
Yes.
So,
It's all knowing.
what's the difference in all what it's saying? I mean, Tum
If there were differences, then it would not be one.
That's what I'm saying. Yeah, so these are just like
It's
different
pointed.
forms. So Antaryami means the knowing.
Antaryami means what?
All knowing.
Residing
The
inside.
all knowing. Antaryami.
Yeah.
The meaning of the word is all knowing.
Have you heard it used in the north like this one knows everything, he's Antaryami? No?
Inside.
Oh, because the one knows.
You tell us, I don't look from Google, we can see that on our own anyway.
I don't know. What do you mean you tell us? We don't want to look at a dictionary, you are a dictionary.
Yeah.
What? I don't know. This is I'm also learning. I thought he's somebody who knows everything. He's saying because he's the indweller. So what's wrong with that? There's any reason for tantrum, is it?
No, that's not a tantrum.
This one is.
Okay. No,
I'm just
seriously
messing
not.
with you.
I'm actually trying to see right now very seriously. Not at all.
Quite a song.
It's quite a song. Huh? You want to sing it?
No. I don't know the.
Yes.
I see the lyrics.
So apparently at those times Radio Ceylon was very popular.
Oh, Radio
The
Ceylon.
radio
Yeah,
station.
yeah.
And the guy there met this dude and he played him a song when he went to Colombo. So they played it and
Oh, it became a big sensation
He's very popular for that song.
for that song. No? One hit wonder. Like a one hit wonder.
Yeah. So, every, like, in his entire biography, that's how it's done. They just mentioned that.
That's all. That was enough.
How do you even remember the lines, you know? Some two stanzas.
I can probably sing more.
We meditated that you was gonna come, I'm gonna come.
Yeah, that is what is called Antaryami.
This is what Antaryami is. Oh, she also knows that. No. Awesome, all the dots connected, you know.
Okay, let's get serious. And the minute I say get serious, everyone starts laughing. There's zero obedience in the Sangha. She's like, when have we ever had it? And she's literally been there from the first satsang. I used to say to them, come, make sure you come on time for Guruji's DVD satsang. Otherwise, next time I'm going to close the door. And still they would not come. No, this one is big softy, he's going to see us. No? Huh? Too much Bangalore traffic.
No. Yeah.
When are you coming back?
Coming back very soon actually. All these goodbyes seem like too much. I take off from there on 17th and we lose like one day flying, one day in time difference. So maybe 18th night or... So 6 o'clock, Gautam is coming. Gautam Modbekar. So I've invited him to come here. So if some of you are in the building or you'd like to come, you're welcome to come.
Who is he?
He's. I've had satsang in his house actually. He's a very old friend and very sweet man. He used to. He's of course follows Guruji for many years, but he also used to follow Ranjit Maharaj, the contemporary of Nisarga Maharaj. So he tells some very beautiful stories of Ranjit Maharaj. Where like the whole house, Ranjit Maharaj's whole house was like half this room. And then some of his followers, they said, we'll buy you a house here and thing. But he just, he said, but that's all I need. Just had a bed and a small like kitchen area, small bathroom. Some very nice stories. So he's moved to Mauritius or Maldives, one of them. Mauritius. So he's been to some retreats. You may have met him. I
Sangeeta?
Yeah, that's Sangeeta. So, so he's in Bangalore for some work this week, and he's free only in the evenings. So he's not able to join Satsang. And
Isn't he quite old?
yeah.
No, but I mean, he's still like when you say he's still alive, Ranjit Maharaj is still alive.
He passed away. Yeah.
So then, all we talking about Ranjit Maharaj,
Ranjit Maharaj is not coming. So he couldn't make it in the morning, so I invited him. He's been messaging every day, when can we meet? So I said, come. So this evening I said, first I told him to come to the office at 5, but then I felt like I'll come back home and then we can meet him for a bit. So
You have a satsang in the US.
I said, if someone comes to Bloomington, I'm happy to meet them, but I don't feel like I'll be able to travel. In fact, one did say, Cad, I feel like he sent me a message saying he'd like to come. So I'm happy to. I told the relatives also same thing. Good. Thank you all so much for being in Satsang today. Sadguru Shri Muji Baba ki
Jai. Jai.
Guru Kripa ke bol. Love you all very much and hope to see you again soon, I'm sure. Love you, love you.